50 years after India and Sri Lanka signed a bilateral agreement demarcating maritime boundaries from the Palk Straits to Adams Bridge, the ceding of Katchatheevu islet has become a hot political issue in Tamil Nadu. What is the electoral impact it will have on the state, which goes to the Lok Sabha polls on April 19th? Vanakkam. This is T. Suresh Kumar, and thank you for joining me in this episode of the Hindu Focus Tamil Nadu. Katchatheevu, an uninhabited island spread across 285 acres, has become a point of discussion in the country and in Tamil Nadu after Prime Minister Narendra Modi accused the Congress of callously ceding it to Sri Lanka in 1974. Since then, Foreign Minister Jaishankar and other BJP leaders have begun to target both the Congress and DMK, charging that these two parties, which were in power in Delhi and in Tamil Nadu in 1974, of having given up the rights of the fishermen to Sri Lanka. What has prompted this attack is certain documents that have been obtained under the Right to Information Act by the BJP Tamil Nadu President K. Annamalai. These documents, among other things, reveal that in 1974, before India and Sri Lanka signed the bilateral agreement, the then Foreign Secretary Kewal Singh took Chief Minister Karunanidhi into confidence on this issue. This is no doubt a new fact, given that Karunanidhi during his lifetime had maintained that he had never agreed to the cessation of Katchatheevu and he was politically opposed to it. The records of the meeting between Singh and Karunanidhi, maintained by the External Affairs Ministry, throw light on the extensive discussion on the subject that took place between them in 74. The document shows that throughout the discussion, Singh tried to convince Karunanidhi that India was on a weak legal footing on the issue of ownership of Katchatheevu. He had told the Chief Minister that the issue involved the country's security, and if it was not resolved bilaterally, then there was a potential threat of interference from third countries such as China. The Foreign Secretary had said that although the Raja of Ramnath had claimed that the ownership of the island vested with him since time immemorial, there was no document to establish the title in his favor. Likewise, there was no map which showed Katchatheevu as part of an India since the days of the British. On the other hand, he said that Sri Lanka had in its possession enough evidence to establish that the island was in its possession for centuries. He also sounded out the Chief Minister that Sri Lanka was exploring options of taking the issue to the International Court of Justice if it was not settled bilaterally. In fact, when Karunanidhi asked Singh whether this issue could not be at a later stage referred for an opinion to the World Court, the Foreign Secretary had explained that there were some inherent difficulties in arbitration involving a third party. Singh had also cited the case of Kashmir and Kutch to establish his point. He also argued that world opinion generally tended to be in favor of a smaller country compared to a bigger nation. The Foreign Secretary said that other than political negotiations, any other course would harm the country's national interests. In fact, he said that this could augment the influence of other foreign powers such as China and adversely impact India's economic and security interests. It was then that Karunanidhi asked Singh whether this issue could be deferred for 2 years. However, when the Foreign Secretary informed Karunanidhi that the matter needs to be resolved with a sense of urgency, he said that for obvious political reasons, he would not be able to publicly support the initiative. Nonetheless, Karunanidhi assured Singh that he would ensure that any protest is kept on a low key and does not flare up. Eventually, when the bilateral agreement was signed, it was the DMK MP Ira Chelian who made a very strong protest in the parliament against the agreement. Likewise, the Tamil Nadu Assembly also passed a resolution opposing the ceding of Katchatheevu, and publicly Karunanidhi continued to maintain his opposition to the whole initiative. Now, for the uninitiated, let's take a look at what purpose does this Katchatheevu island serve. Practically, the island just serves two purposes. One is that it is used by fishermen for resting purposes as well as for drying the fishing net. And second, during the annual congregation of the St. Anthony's Church Festival, fishermen from both countries assemble there and there's a sense of bonhomie between them. The Raja of Ramnath in 1968 had said that this church festival in fact provides an opportunity for bringing together families that have otherwise been separated. According to him, there were cases where the husband was in Ceylon and the wife was in India, and they could meet up on these occasions without the requirement of having to get a passport and visa. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his party leaders have now charged that the DMK has done nothing to safeguard the interests of the Tamil Nadu fishermen. However, those closely observing the political scene in Tamil Nadu would know that this issue per se is not new, and the Katchatheevu has dominated political discourse in the past also. In fact, for nearly 30 years, Jayalalitha's main point of accusation against the DMK would be that Karunanidhi had been a party to the ceding of Katchatheevu and thereby forfeiting the rights of Tamil Nadu and its fishermen to Sri Lanka. In 1991, during her Independence Day address, Jayalalitha had vowed that she would ensure that Katchatheevu was retrieved. Thereafter, almost in every election season, the Katchatheevu becomes part of the electoral discourse, although with minimal impact in the hustings. Jayalalitha kept the issue alive till the time of her death. In 2008, she moved the Supreme Court challenging the validity of the 1974 and 1976 agreements between India and Sri Lanka. 5 years later, surprisingly, even Karunanidhi filed a petition at the Apex Court seeking to retrieve Katchatheevu. Karunanidhi, on his part, would always maintain that he was never a party to the secession and that he has always insisted that Katchatheevu belonged to India and Tamil Nadu. Although Katchatheevu remains an emotive issue in Tamil Nadu, electorally its impact is minimal. Let's see it on the basis of data itself. Now, fishermen from Rameshwaram are the ones who are most affected by attacks from Sri Lanka. In fact, look at how the Ramanathapuram constituency has voted over the years. This is the constituency where you have the fishermen from Rameshwaram who are also voters here. Now, in the last 12 elections since 1977, that is after the ceding of Katchatheevu, there were only 2 occasions when candidates who are not backed by the DMK and Congress have managed to win here. That means in 10 elections, only candidates backed by the DMK and Congress have emerged victorious here since 1977. The sitting MP Nawaz Kani, who has been re-nominated, belongs to the IUML, which is an ally of the DMK and Congress combined in Tamil Nadu. Politically, these documents obtained under the RTI Act by the BJP leader Annamalai have given the opposition a weapon to attack the DMK. Basically, it establishes that Karunanidhi was aware of the centre's moves on the issue. But beyond that, it may not really cause any dent electorally. In fact, surprisingly, the AIADMK, DMK and the Nam Tamil Kachchi have used this discourse to attack the BJP, questioning why in the last 10 years the party, despite being in power at the centre, has failed to retrieve Katchatheevu. Besides, they have questioned as to why the BJP has done very little on this except for maintaining throughout that the matter is sub judice. Also, the Prime Minister did not raise the issue of Katchatheevu during his multiple meetings with the Sri Lankan government. For the fishermen, what really matters is the continuing attacks by the Sri Lankan Navy and arrest of Tamil Nadu fishermen besides importing of the boats. On the other hand, the real issue is that of Tamil Nadu fishermen entering Sri Lankan waters using bottom trawlers for fishing. This depletes the marine resource in that country, and that has been a major bone of contention, which needs to be resolved in a humanitarian manner, just as Prime Minister Narendra Modi had mentioned during a bilateral meeting on this issue. This whole aspect of fishermen entering Sri Lankan waters for fishing must be viewed with a humanitarian angle rather than considering it as poaching into the international waters. One thing that's clear is that retrieving Katchatheevu will just remain a political rhetoric post-elections. So on that note, this is D. Suresh Kumar signing off. I shall meet you in another video. Thank you.